Hi, thank you for your time. My name is Won Ho Han, and I lived and grew up in the West San Fernando Valley for the past 22 years. I have seen the draft of the new congressional district lines, and I thank you for including Bell Canyon and Calabasas to the West San Fernando Valley District. Bell Canyon and Calabasas has always been part of the West Valley, and it is great to have them included in our district lines. What concerns me is the division of Reseda and Northridge in the district map. As you can see on the map, Reseda and Northridge are clearly part of the West San Fernando Valley. It especially makes little sense to divide them. Please do what you can to put all of Northridge and all of Reseda in one district, a district based in West Valley. This can be done by unifying Sherman Oaks in the west and Studio City in the Beverly Hills district. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Number 9, number 10, number 11, number 12, 13. Okay, thank you. 14, 15, 16, 17, come forward. And you can sit in the reserve seats here in the front. And sir, what number are you again?
13.
13, thank you.
My name is Oscar Dominguez Guzman. I live in Pico Union area. My concern is on June 10 by the draft map that you guys have put together definitely make the Latino population feel not represented. During the last decade, California Latino population accounted for 90% of the state growth. The commission map fails to reflect the growth by not creating fair opportunities to increase the Latino representation. California's map must comply with the Federal Voting Rights Act of 1965, which protects underrepresented communities from discrimination in the electoral process. Under the state law, a strict adherence to the Voting Rights Act in the second highest priority of the Commission must apply when drawing the state new district. The Commission first drafts map do not provide sufficient opportunities for Latino representation as required by the Voting Act rights. The Commission must ensure that it addresses the issue when it revises its draft map. My communities of interest are Rampart Village, Pico Union, Westlake, Korea Town, Wilshire, Vermont, Harbor University Park, Vermont, Maine, Central Alameda, South Los Angeles, and also El Salvador Corridor. With regards to the Assembly state map, we definitely recommend the boundaries of the north, Beverly Boulevard to Wilton Place, 110 freeway. On the south, Arlington Wilton Place to Florence Avenue. On the west, Wilton Place to Arlington Boulevard. And on the east, Cross to 10 freeway.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Can you step back from the microphone a little bit, slow down, and just step back from the microphone? That's a little bit better because it's getting muffled. Okay. Please, just start with where you were at with the 110 freeway.
Okay, on the west, Wilton Place to Arlington Boulevard. And on the east, Cross to 10 West freeway to boundaries of the city of Huntington Park. On the Senate level, we definitely think that's a correct district area that you have provided. But on the congressional area, we believe that attaching Beverly Hills to the Latino area, that's something very unfair. Thank you very much.
Thank you. 14. Anyone with numbers 15 to 20? Okay. What do you have? What's anyone before 16? Okay, 16, please.
Good evening. My name is Nancy Eisenhardt. I live in Woodland Hills, and I want to speak about the West Valley, the San Fernando Valley particularly. If you could show State Senate District, please, LASCV. Yes, the whole thing. See that green thing? It goes up higher. There it is.
Yeah.
That's what we have to live with. Kern County line, desert, canyon country, little bit of the West Valley where we live, a little bridge there. We go down to the beach. We have mountains. One of these days, I hope you'll put some mountain boundaries around. What I want to speak about directly, though, is in the San Fernando Valley, which is a contiguous inland hot valley. First of all, I do want to thank you. I think you showed the boundary, the southern boundary, as the Mulholland Highway, which we really do appreciate. That geographical undesirable area known as Bel Air and Brentwood, we do not want representation with that community. The arm that shoots out there, I understand, is a Hispanic Latino district, and I understand that we need to do that, but it really divides us up. This West Valley is where we all live and shop and go to church and everything, and I would suggest that we take from there's a Latino distribution map that VICA put out, and it shows that in Studio City there, North Hollywood, that is just as much Latino as some of that muscle arm that's sticking out there. And that would make them more contiguous on the east end of the valley. The West Valley is a real thing from the 405 West, and we appreciate if you could respect that as much as possible. And this actually is an overlay of the two assembly districts, the Thousand Oaks, Santa Monica Mountain, the lower part, which still includes the beach and the valley, and also the Santa Clarita. But when you look at the whole thing, it doesn't work. Give us some Simi Valley. That makes us closer than Canyon Country in the desert. Please reconsider these. Thank you.
Thank you. 17, 18, 19. You have 18?
18.
Oh, thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for hearing our issues and concerns, and I'd also like to thank the city of Culver City for hosting this. My name's Woody Hollier, and I'm here as a private citizen from the city of Inglewood. If you would, show the 51st District. I have lived in Inglewood for nearly 30 years. Before that, city of Hawthorne for 10 years. Lived and worked in both of those cities. Worked in the city of El Segundo, and also worked in the city of Westchester, the Westchester, LA area. We've always been a part of the South Bay. Never felt we were not until I saw this map. With all due respect, all has been said that probably could be about this new map with regards to the 51st District. But when I first saw it, I felt disenfranchised. I felt this was a hodgepodge of what was left after all of the heavy decision making had been done. I'm going to put a team of people together, and with the assistance of those who know, and we will submit. I have submitted, but we will resubmit what we think should be done. As someone said before, we weren't broke. I don't know why you fixed this, but we really need to do something about this configuration. I have no idea what the issues and concerns are of people who live beyond the 110 freeway, east of the 110 freeway. In fact, you could stop a lot closer than the 110 freeway going east. I don't see a fixable, doable situation when I look at this map as it exists today. I thank you for your concern.
Thank you. 19.
You can pull up the West San Fernando Valley Calabasas map for me. Commissioners, it's good to see you again. I've testified in front of the San Fernando, public input hearing. There we go. And I made the comment that today's modern example of terrorism was politicians drawing up their own congressional and district lines and so forth. My name is Mark Reed. I am a person who's worked in diversity for about 20 years. I'm Mohawk and Chiricahua Apache. I'm Spanish, English, French, and German. So I am a prime example of what an American citizen is. It is an actual insult to me to actually take in consideration ethnicity. I'm an American first. And representation is based on Americanism, and that's it. In geographical boundaries, when you look at the map that you've drawn up, You've taken out Reseda, you've taken out Lake Balboa in a nice little slice there because it's a Hispanic area. However, Lake Balboa in the Reseda area is where the Van Nuys Airport is. The majority of the jobs, manufacturing, machine shops, and so forth are all in the West San Fernando Valley that services those two areas. I suggest that you take that two portions there, Lake Balboa and Reseda and Northridge, that real neat-looking lump you got in the middle there, take that, put it back in the West San Fernando Valley. Everything east of the 405 freeway, Sherman Oaks, Valley Village, up to the 170 freeway, and you stick it up into the East San Fernando Valley. And if you need a little bit of more population, if you look at Sepulveda Boulevard runs right into the 405 freeway in the north, and it runs into the 405 freeway in the south. And that would be the actual line. But I think you've heard a multitude of testimonies time and time again at this hearing and the last hearing in San Fernando Valley that the West San Fernando Valley is the 405 freeway and over. And it actually made up 669,000 residents. So I think you've gotten the rest of the residents out of Santa Clarita Valley. But I don't know what the justification was for bringing Reseda and Lake Balboa in there and then going east of the 405 freeway with Sherman Oaks and Valley Village. Those two areas should be in the east. Lake Balboa and Reseda should be in the west.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 20. Anyone between, I'm sorry.
Good evening. My name is Mike Stevens. I'm councilman of the City of Inglewood, District 1, largest district in the City of Inglewood. The residents of the City of Inglewood have many things in common with those individuals who live in Westchester and Playa del Rey. Number one, we have the airport, of course, but more important than that, what we also have is something that's on our tax bills. On the City of Inglewood's tax bill, we have something called the El Camino College District. We pay a tax on that. El Camino College is located in the city of Lawndale, bordered by Gardena. To have Inglewood be joined with any city that is to the east of the 110 freeway, which is considered a natural boundary, is extremely unfair. Taking a look at LAX, if you take a look at El Segundo, when planes take off to the east in an eastbound direction, they then rotate to the south and come back over the city of Redondo Beach. If they have when they have their representative represents not only Redondo Beach but also El Segundo when it comes to environmental issues involving LAX. If Westchester is allowed to become part of Playa Vista as well as Marina del Rey, what happens then is that we dilute their representation, because now what you have is Playa Vista and Marina del Rey, which are not actually negatively impacted by LAX. So Inglewood would be in the same situation by having their representation diluted, because those individuals who live in Downey and Southgate, they are not negatively impacted by LAX. So what I'm asking you to do, what the residents of Inglewood would like for you to do, is to keep Westchester conjoined with Inglewood. We are all part of the South Bay. Inglewood was originally the grandfather, the originator of the South Bay. Everything started from Inglewood from the beginning. There was no Hawthorne, there was no Westchester, there was no El Segundo. Matter of fact, Westchester actually was part of Mines Field, which was actually part of the City of Inglewood. So I thank you very much for your time, and have a good evening.
Thank you. Speaker number 21. Anyone between 21 and 25? Okay. And what number do you have?
22.
22, okay.
If I could have the Compton residents to come and stand behind me, please.
I'm sorry, there's no demonstrations. That's part of the participation.
Well, can they stand?
They can stand where they're at.
Can they stand, please? Okay, my name is Lestine Johnson. I am a member of the Concerned Citizens of Compton. I am the president of the Compton Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to speak to you, first of all, good evening, commissioners. And I'd like to speak this evening on the transportation corridors. If you can pull up the map, congressional map number 37, dealing with the city of Compton, Carson, and Long Beach, I would appreciate it. I've come before you tonight to make the case for keeping the communities of Compton, Carson, and Long Beach in the same congressional district on the ground of their existence as a community of interest in the area of transportation. Like Long Beach, Compton has a municipal airport that is located in the heart of our city. The benefits and the pitfalls of a municipal airport are another shared issue that makes Compton to the north and Long Beach to the south an effective community of interest who will be best represented by a federal elected official who could speak for both. Even with that, the strongest commonality between Compton, Carson, and Long Beach is the Port of Long Beach and the related freeway and railway transportation corridors that connect the three cities. At the April 27 CRC hearing in Long Beach, the mayors of both Compton and Long Beach spoke and dealing with the transportation connections. The next day at the Los Angeles hearing, Commissioner Dye said, and I quote, "If we have substantial public testimony advocating particular configuration, cities of counties, what I would be afraid to do is to draw a map ignoring all that public testimony." A few days later in Lancaster, Commissioner DeGilio said regarding instruction, it is about continuity, which is the third highest criteria. That being said, the freeways, 710, 91, all connect these cities, and we do ask that you look into redrawing and leaving Compton, Carson, and Long Beach together. Thank you for your time.
Number 23.
Good evening. My name is Gail Gaines, and I live, worship, and shop in the Long Beach, Carson, and Compton area. My friends, family, and neighbors all live in Carson, Compton, Long Beach, Signal Hill, Watts, and Willowbrook. Because of our economic challenges, it is impossible to separate cities like Compton, Carson, Long Beach from each other, given the almost identical economic challenges that we share. I know that Compton and Carson, in particular, have struggled for years to combat the devastating impact of the loss of our auto industry. Additionally, for Compton and Carson, the Gateway Town Center shopping complex, South Bay Pavilion, the Carson Mall, the Home Depot Center, Sports Stadium, and the Major League Baseball Urban Youth Academy have all brought attention and much needed foot traffic to our cities. Our experience in addressing these economic challenges can only help our neighboring cities if we remain together as the community of interest that we naturally are. I hope that you will consider my comments when you draw maps so that communities in the LBPRT, Long Beach, and Carson that are Compton's neighbors continue to be as one. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Number 24. 25.
Good evening. My name is Scott Wilk with the Coalition of Suburban Communities for Fair Representation. We are a nonpartisan, broad-based grassroots organization, and I think that is evidenced by the amount of responses that we've generated to the Commission through our community outreach. I'm going to talk about Santa Clarita-related districts. First of all, on the Assembly District, Santa Clarita Valley, West San Fernando Valley, nearly perfect. I want to salute you on that. It certainly reflects COI testimony. The only thing I would ask you to consider is possibly moving the Agua Dulce community from the Antelope Valley seat to that seat. And again, we've given testimony on that in the past, about 3,300 residents. Hopefully you can do that. I'd like to spend the most of my time talking about the Santa Clarita Valley to Malibu seat. As you know, that goes from the top of the Grapevine in Gorman all the way down to Zuma Beach at the Pacific Ocean. This district is the only district in the state that is both coastal and inland. It does not represent communities of interest, and furthermore, it is obviously not compact. My own personal view is you all ran out of time with the artificial deadline, and this district is not done. Having said that, I believe what makes the most sense is that Santa Clarita West Valley seat nested with an East Ventura County seat. That is exactly what the Commission did when it came to the congressional seat. It's got Simi Valley Moore Park with Santa Clarita Valley. Historically, Simi Valley and the Eastern Ventura County has been wedded with Santa Clarita in a Senate seat in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. They share the 118 corridor, which serves job centers in Valencia, Chatsworth, and Simi Valley. They're tied together through the San Gabriel Mountains. They share the 11,000-acre Santa Clarita woodlands and a wildlife corridor. Finally, they are similar communities with similar industries such as biotech, aerospace defense, and film industry. It's 45 minutes past my bedtime. I really appreciate your tenacity and sticking through this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I've known that you have been, giving us input. Just one point I want to make, but it's not a question, but for future reference. if you consider Agua Dulce and Acton in that Santa Clarita AD, can you provide us a solution online in another submission as to what's going to happen on the Vectorville Valley side?
My prior testimony, I had mentioned, because originally we had advocated for, Acton and Agua Dulce. Acton, honestly, you can make a case for going to Antelope Valley or going to Santa Clarita Valley. I agree with that. Agua Dulce should be with us. I thought there was going to be some people here from Antelope Valley. I don't know what happened. They were going to testify to that. You may hear some of that in
later on. Okay,
probably
great.
Probably at the Oxnard hearing.
Okay, thank you very much. Number 26, 27. Anybody? 28, 29, 30. Okay. Not yet. We'll get there. What number do you have, ma'am?
I have 28.
Can you pull the microphone down, please?
There.
28.
Does that work? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Regarding Senate District 23, my name is Jerry Kenyon. I have lived in the community of Topanga since 1977 and have worked for the LAUSD as a school psychologist since 1978, retiring in 2009. I object to the proposed redistricting as an educator who has worked in and with schools in areas reaching from Topanga through Pacific Palisades to Santa Monica to Malibu through Venice and into West Los Angeles and Culver City. The Commission's proposed district ignores this school community and presents instead a geographic area reaching into the Santa Clarita Valley and even far beyond, an area remote from these associated communities. As a school psychologist, my work has dealt primarily with special needs children and their families and the community agencies that provide service to them. I have worked with such agencies as the St. John's Hospital Unit in Santa Monica and the UCLA Neuropsychiatric Hospital Unit in West Los Angeles while I was assigned to sites including Venice High School, University High School, Topanga Elementary School, and McBride Special Ed Center. I am sure you are aware of the unremitting activism of these families as they work to assure the best possible educational outcome and quality of life services for their children. This new plan destroys the ability of these families and providers to work together for special needs children and families through legislative action and outreach. We cannot reach into the Santa Clarita Valley and do not have these connections and patterns of communication and support with these remote communities. Likewise, those living in the Santa Clarita Valley and beyond would undoubtedly have very similar concerns. Just as we know nothing of their communities, they would know nothing of ours. As well, we work to integrate special needs children into our general education programs and into our communities. Here, too, we see the difficulties created by this reorganization of our political representation.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
I have one more comment.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Please submit it to us in writing.
It'll be submitted in writing. I hope you really look at it because this is an outrage. Really is.
Okay. Thank you very much. It is our policy that we would conclude at 11 o'clock. I see a few people here. How many people, just raising your hand, still wanted to speak? I'm sorry. Okay, there's about 15 people, and looking at my fellow commissioners, we wish to accommodate people, and we're going to balance that with our policy. And we don't want to shortchange you, but are you willing to go 1 minute? Okay, then we'll stay 15 minutes to accommodate the 15 of you, and certainly please be courteous of your fellow citizens here as well, and stick to the 1 minute, and we can get through all of you, and any follow-up, certainly feel free. So we are at 29, anybody between 30 and 35? Okay, who has the lowest? 31, 32? 32, please. And again, we're on 1 minute, but if you have something in writing, please feel free to give it to Ms. Sargis before you. Please.
Okay. Well, thank you for this time. I want to go on record, and I need the Long Beach, Carson, Compton area. I want to go on record with my concern for what I think is a potential setback in the recent gains made by the cities of Carson, Compton, and Long Beach in the area of education. The potential setback, I feel, stems from the proposed district maps for the 2 new congressional districts that include the cities of Compton, Carson, Lawndale, Inglewood, Linwood, and Southgate, to just name a few, and the map that includes Long Beach, Paramount, and Los Alamitos next door to the Carson-Compton district. These 2 maps represent 9, and you can count them, 9 different school districts. There are 9 different superintendents, boards of trustees, etc., for the 2 Congress members to be acquainted and to work with. The children and the parents in our 3 cities, they're only 3. And the point is that we do not want these children to be impacted through that educational component.
Thank you very much. 34? Oh, 33, excuse me. You're keeping me on my toes.
That's okay. I am a minority, and I can only assume that no one in this auditorium has experience that I have. You see, tonight I'm coming out of the closet. It's bipolar, paranoid, schizophrenic. And if I were to ask your audience, how many of you have had these personal experiences? Probably no one would raise their hand. And there's no point in me looking back to see. But based upon the testimony that I've heard this evening, I would love to see you put a kind of assessment for the people who are going to be disconnected. We need to have a showing of what people actually feel, not just those little red lines and blue lines and gray lines. And that is my request, that you include a component for the psychologically pain that a lot of people these will suffer. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And my name is Elnora Willingham from Long Beach.
34.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Velma Slaughter, and I would like to submit my concerns in writing. Thank you.
Please do. Thank you very much. Number 35. 36. Or raise your hand if you're 35, 36, 37. Anybody between 37 and 40? Okay, please come forward.
So good evening, Commissioners. My name is James Reed. I'm a college student, lifelong resident of the city of Lawndale, and I'm here at the interest of no one else but myself. I'm here to reiterate the words of including the South Bay cities as a whole, including Lawndale particularly. It's in our city motto, the heart of the South Bay. I see behind you, after staring at that for 4 hours, heart of the Screenland, just point of comparison. South Bay has been a part of my life for a great time. And looking to the next 10 years, South Bay is going to be really important for economic interest. That's what a community of interest is defined in one of your packets that I was reading during the 4 hours listening to the testimony. Measure R overwhelmingly passed by a 2/3 majority, which is a tax that will extend the metro from the Redondo Beach area to Torrance. And Lawndale will be affected out of any other of the South Bay cities that are mentioned in the South Bay. So I hope that they will consider adding Lawndale to the South Bay. Another thing, I went to school in Redondo Beach, and Lawndale and Redondo Beach going together. I go to Redondo Beach, and I can see Redondo Beach from my house. So hope you will include that.
Thank you. 39, Ford. Okay.
Distinguished Commissioner, first of all, I would like to thank you for your patience and for your time. My name is Mitra Samani. I'm here today with other members of the large Persian community that lives in the West San Fernando Valley. We are here to urge you to please reconsider the decision evident in the current draft map to cut the West Valley community of Reseda into 2 separate congressional districts Reseda is its own unique community of interest, especially for the Persian community, religiously and culturally, located entirely west of the 405 freeway, the widely accepted dividing line between the East and West Valley. As the draft map has it, one half of Reseda now finds itself in an East Valley congressional district. I know that you have numbers to hit, and that keeping Reseda together would mean that you would have to tinker with other districts. To this, I would suggest keeping Reseda together in the West Valley district and making a similar effort to keep the West Valley communities of Valley Glen and Van Nuys together in the East Valley district. Thank you again for your service and all your time.
Perfect. Excellent timing. Number 40, 41, 42.
We have map LAGBP. I'm Marvin Owen, resident of La Crescenta, California, and my concern is La Cañada Flint Ridge. We have Foothill Boulevard that runs between Sunland, Tujunga, La Crescenta County, La Crescenta Glendale, and La Cañada, ends in La Cañada, so it's quite a connector across the way. We have the 2 freeway that funnels all the traffic down through all of that area, and so we have a community network that way also. We have a common border with La Crescenta County, La Crescenta Glendale, and La Cañada, and we share the 91214 zip code with La Crescenta County, La Crescenta Glendale. And so this whole section, if you notice where it says Crescenta, that's La Crescenta County. And it's a mail zone, and it's a community, and it's divided in 2. Also, La Cañada Flint Ridge is connected in so many different ways to the Glendale, Burbank, La Crescenta area. I'd suggest you do that. Whoa, that was quick.
It is. Thank you very much, sir. 43.
Could we just remind people, too, that especially since the short time, if they have material, even if it's just one copy, they can send it in or submit it.
Oh, here, let me. My name is Julian Berger, and I live in the community of Wilmington, California, which is in the Los Angeles Harbor area.
Clock.
Okay. Clock has. Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. My reason for being here is primarily to support the integrity of the boundaries of the city of Los Angeles in the Los Angeles Harbor area. These community districts are Wilmington, San Pedro, Harbor City, and Lower Harbor Gateway. Secondarily, I'm here to see that once these communities are whole, that they are with other communities or cities of common interest. Unfortunately, my primary and secondary objectives have not been met by the Commission. Please see the maps on the handouts that I give you for Assembly, Senate, and Congressional districts. In all these representative districts, and I am okay with the Board of Equalization districts, as probably 99% of California is, okay, the Assembly, State, Senate, and Congress, these communities have been mangled. The Assembly seat, which should include the communities of Palos Verdes Peninsula, which includes Rolling Hills Estates, Palos Verdes Estates, Rolling Hills, and ooh, wow, that goes fast. Okay, basically, it just keeps San Pedro and the other communities together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. 44. What number do you have, ma'am? 51. Okay. Anybody before 51? Okay, you're up.
Good evening, Commissioners. First, I would like to thank you for your time and your dedication on this matter. My name is Jenna, and I'm here representing the city of Reseda. Reseda is known as the hub of the West San Fernando Valley. Reseda is a historic community, and these communities matter in the valley. Some of these have been here for 100 years. Those of us who live here are proud to call ourselves Reseda citizens. First, in your draft, you have split Reseda down the middle, which also divides up our potential representation. Please correct this to the best of your ability. Reseda has long been known as the hub of the West Valley, and I've brought along a couple of examples to show that. First, you saw my t-shirt before with the slogan, Reseda, hub of the West Valley. This has been our slogan for a long time and should be acknowledged by the Commission. Secondly, I bring with me a picture of the billboard that greets everyone who enters our wonderful community. Welcome to Reseda, hub of the West Valley. Lastly, I brought an article from the 1989 Los Angeles Times that mentions this same slogan. And lastly, my friend mentioned a new map, and mainly I would like to portray that Reseda should be kept together, and that's very important to the members of our community and myself. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone between 51 and 60? What do you get? 59? Okay. Okay.
My name is Dorothy Reich. I'm from Topanga Canyon, and I want to finish reading my friend Jerry's testimony to you. With the increasing pressures on our educational systems and their fundamental importance to our society, it makes sense to support current representative systems and connections in our education community. Please consider keeping these communities intact in your plan. I also would like to discuss with you, of course, I'm upset about the Santa Clarita to Malibu district. And I'm also not happy that Topanga Canyon has been made a valley city. Topanga Canyon has always considered itself a West Side city. We are serviced by the Malibu Water District. We are Southern California Edison, not Department of Water and Power as the valley is. We have a West Side area code. We have a West Side zip code. We have our own beach, Topanga State Beach, and we have never, ever considered ourselves part of the San Fernando Valley. We do avail ourselves of their services.
We got it. Thank you.
And while the next speaker comes up, I just want to commend everyone who waited 5 hours for 1 minute. That's even outlasts our dedication. So thank you.
I'm number 59. My name is Paul Strickland. I'm from Santa Clarita. I thank you so much for listening to the citizens of Santa Clarita and keeping the valley and the greater valley whole. When you did the Assembly District, you've already heard about the Senate District. I'm now going to talk about the Congressional District. Newhall is part of the city of Santa Clarita as well as Santa Clarita Valley. You have taken Newhall away from us. I am an elected school board member from the William S. Hart Union High School District. That is a high school district that for 4 feeder elementary districts. We have worked hard in our community to help the community become a diverse multicultural district and to get along. We have, and especially with the school districts, there's great articulation between our elementary districts and our high schools. The Newhall district, I don't know why you took it away, why you took Newhall away from our city for that, other than ethnicity. I suppose that's what it is. I've got to get it out there. We need community over ethnicity. We've worked hard to bring that community together, and there's establishments between partnerships, between parents, between everybody else. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody between 60 and 65? 65 and 70? Okay, 66. So no one before 66.
First of all, I'd like to commend all of you for what you're doing. I wouldn't do it, and thank God you're doing it. I am Dan Medina. I am the city councilman for the city of Gardena, and I'll keep my as brief as I can. We sent you a letter on April 28th of this year, and we specifically said that we have, first of all, I'm dealing with a Congressional District 35 and Assembly District 51. We specified that we had no interest in changing cities currently in District 35 or 51. Our immediate adjoining neighbor cities, which are Inglewood, Hawthorne, and Lawndale, and you've heard this about 20 times tonight, that they don't want to be left out of the loop. We want to stay together along with the adjoining cities. And one of the things that no one has brought up all day today, other than the race card, is that we're governed by the West Basin Water District, the South Bay Council of Governments, the South Bay Environmental Service Center, and also the South Bay Workforce Investment Center and the Sanitation District. So those things will have to be split up if you split us up from the rest of the cities. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone left? Okay, we got 4. Okay. It's between 66 and 70. No one? 71 to 75? 75 to 80? Trying to figure out who's next. What do you got there? 81. Okay.
My name is Toby Ann Manzo. I come from the community of Del Rey, which is south of Washington Boulevard, east of Marina Del Rey, north of Jefferson, and west of Culver City. And what we want to do is we want to keep together. we have always been fractionalized, even to the point that we have a part of us has an LA zip code, part of us has a Culver City zip code. We've always been in this. On your map now, we are at least in the same federal congressional district, but we're still divided along Centinela Boulevard, which is supposed to be our main street, not our divider. We're still divided between the state senate and the assembly district in two parts. We want to be one part, just like Inglewood and Westchester want to be together. Delray wants to be together with Delray. So anything you could do along those lines would be most grateful, and I appreciate your staying this late.
Thank you. Perfect. With 3 people are left, what are your numbers there, ladies? Okay. Anyone before that? Doesn't look like it. Come on down.
Okay, I'm president of the Delray Homeowners and Neighbors Association, so it's also dealing with Delray. I submitted our map so that you know the boundaries of our neighborhood council. The problem is we're kind of the meat in the sandwich. Right from Jefferson, Playa Vista is actually in a neighborhood council with Westchester, but the traffic from the airport and Westchester goes right through Delray to go to Santa Monica. The traffic from Marina Del Rey goes right through Delray to get to Culver City. And so we are the crossroads between Santa Monica and the airport, Marina Del Rey and Culver City. And it's really important. I don't know if we're going to wind up with Westchester or we're going to wind up with Santa Monica, but it's really important that we be kept as a unit in the Assembly, in the Senate, and in the Congress. You've done it in the Congress. You've dropped us from 3 districts to 2 in the Assembly and the Senate, which we really appreciate. And then, of course, we only have the 1 Board of Equalization. So thank you very much, and thank you for...
Could I ask one quick question? Do you have a preference? You said either going north or going south. Do you have a preference? Just real...
We probably have more in common with Westchester than we do with Santa Monica.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. 2 ladies left. I'm sorry. Or 2 gentlemen. I'm sorry, you were number 96, so who's the next closest? We have 100.
225. 113.
Okay. I'm sorry, sir, what did you have? Okay. We'll do it in that order right there.
13. Molly Bell, straight out of Compton. And to the commissioners, want to say, first of all, thank you. You know what? We've been hearing all these testimonies. There are those of us that believe you just made this first set of maps just to see if we really cared. Your plan worked. We cared. We came out. Now do the right thing. Put Compton, Carson, Signal Hill, and Long Beach together. And there was a rapper that always said, life is cool, and on a double, Compton and Long Beach together, you know you're in trouble. So please keep us together. The struggle continues, but always to God be the glory. Yo, Andre.
I guess that's a disclosure. Next.
Tough act to follow. Could I have the congressional district with the harbor, please? What I'm requesting is probably going to ask for the shifting of the smallest number of people that tonight entirely. I'm just asking that the Port of Los Angeles be included with San Pedro. There are 3 census districts that comprise the Port of Los Angeles, 98.14, 98.15, and 98.31. 98.14 is the Dominguez Channel. It's basically liveaboards. It has 239 people. Census Tract 15 has 554, and the largest one, .31, has 1,262, primarily gifts of the federal prison in Terminal Island, which, as I understand, actually prisoners are not supposed to be counted there, but where they're actually from. The reason for this, though, is that the harbor district headquarters is in a different congressional district. It's in San Pedro, whereas the port is in a different congressional district. This makes it very difficult when we're trying to apply for federal funding for projects, because we have one congressional member who represents the headquarters and another one who represents actually the port, and they're interested in getting funding for their district, whereas the application. So I'm asking for a transfer of somewhere between 800 to 2,000 people at most, that Los Angeles Also, there's 16,000 people who work there during the daytime. The majority of those people live in the San Pedro area. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And our last speaker, or I'm sorry, two more, okay. Sorry, Mr. Urlacher.
Good evening once again. I'm Bruce Campbell. I'm going to speak about some northern things tonight and hopefully get to the south tomorrow. The current assembly district on the north coast is sensible, and the new assembly district is also sensible. The current state senate district 2 up north, on north coast, can be improved since Del Norte County is not included, plus the district extends too far to the southeast, and the proposed new state senate district there is an improvement. I believe the current congressional district 1 extends too far to the southeast, and thus the new map is an improvement as well. I understand an incumbent coastal congresswoman called these new boundary lines baffling. Despite agreeing with this incumbent most of the time, I disagree that the new district boundaries are baffling. They look sensible to me as far as geography and as far as communities of interest. And lastly, in the Bay Area, though I haven't scoured the maps too carefully, but I'm concerned about splitting the city of Fremont and its substantial Southern Asian population. Is this due to the Voting Rights Act related to adjoining districts such as in Monterey and Merced County? Is that why you thought it had to be split that way? And if not, please try to unite that community. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last speaker.
My name is Tom Bellin. I was actually White 89. I was streaming the meeting in my office at UCLA and drove down here. Thought I'd get my 1 minute. There was actually a handout that I believe you would have received. I spoke at the April 28th public input hearing about the idea of using a so-called density variation compactness, or DVC score, as a summary of redistricting plans. The concept is that you just can't look at a map without knowing something about the composition of districts and understand how it would work at a statewide level. I actually was able to use, through the helpful links on your website, I was able to go to a redistricting assistance center, and I can report that the DVC scores associated with the draft plans suggest that even though you weren't trying consciously perhaps to deal with this issue, you managed to end up with districts that had higher DVC scores. The message of the handout is to please publish this information. If the commission could publish it, then the public could have access to it as a freedom of information issue. Thank you.
Thank you. It was our intent to go to 11:15. How many people do we have? Just two? That's it. Only two more speakers. I'm afraid I have to cut it off for the sake of everybody. We've been very accommodating. What number do you have, sir?
I have 35.
Wonderful.
Thank you to the Commission for doing great work. We've had such a long history in this country of gerrymandering, so we see what happens in Syria where political power is challenged. Thank you for doing it peacefully and without anybody challenging the citizens' power. I've lived in Los Angeles and Riverside and Reseda and Westchester, so I understand a lot of the concerns of people here. I just want to say Reseda is part of the West Valley. Riverside, I know there's some districts that have been changed there, entire Pomona, and David Dreyer is having some trouble, but that's good. Westchester is part of both the beach cities, but it's also up on the bluffs. It's separated from Santa Monica, so it's not a big deal. Separate it from Santa Monica. In some of the districts, it can go either way. LAX, if you want to carve it out. You can carve Westchester up to the west side. You can carve LAX to Inglewood. I don't know why we can't do that. So thank you for what you're doing. And if you can, please try to increase the number of competitive districts in California so we can have some more voter turnout in this state, because I'm in Maxine Waters' district, and she ignores us in Westchester. Thank you.
Thank you. Last speaker. And what is your number, ma'am? You're 12. Okay.
Good evening, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. I've never been involved in a process like this before. I didn't know that this existed until 3 days ago. I live in the city of Hawthorne, And I've heard a number of people speak here tonight about wanting to keep Hawthorne in a different district than what many of us in Hawthorne would like to be kept in. Since we just found out about this, our community is just in the process of organizing right now, and I would only like to make you aware that you will be receiving communications from a number of my neighbors and the community leaders in Hawthorne. We would very much ask that you consider placing us in the beach communities in District 36, where we have a great deal of community commitment and community ties. I won't take any more of your time. You will be receiving communication from many, many, many of us in writing. Thank you again very much.
Thank you very much, and I certainly appreciate everyone's patience, including my fellow commissioners, in accommodating this wonderful crowd here tonight. We are adjourned.
And the conference says no, then, we have to work something out, but